This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. So the Ravens have signed Derrick Henry, and this news has brought out an interesting reaction on online platforms and Browns fans and Raven fans alike. There's a lot of reasons to react to this in a lot of different ways. If you are somebody who just pays attention to the league in general, you would know that Derrick Henry, that's one of the best running backs, or at least is seen as one of the best running backs in the NFL. And the Baltimore Ravens are already one of the best teams in the NFL. It feels like one of those overwhelming super team type moments that the Ravens now have what could be the best running back in the NFL. And a lot of people are reacting like that, right? I'm not. And I don't know if I'm just straight up wrong here or if I'm on to something. But I really don't think Derrick Henry in Baltimore, in the AFC North, at age 30, is something that's going to work as well as people are assuming. Now, he's not going to be complete garbage, right? I don't expect this to be like a Dalvin Cook situation where he gets cut halfway through the season or something like that. I think he'll be fine. But there is a question, right? Similar to how we talked about Russell Wilson, where Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. But since he's Russell Wilson, he carries certain baggage with him when it just comes to him on the field, meaning that Russ might not be willing, play style-wise, to take as much as a back seat as Kenny Pickett would. So if you had Kenny Pickett in there, you'd be handing that ball off all the time, throwing the ball maybe 15 times. But when you have Russell Wilson, former Super Bowl champion, you're going to feel inclined, he's going to feel inclined to throw that ball 45 times a game, whether it's something that you should be doing or not. And that's why I circle back to on this Derrick Henry thing. Derrick Henry is a superstar. So much so that I'm making a video about the Ravens getting Derrick Henry. He's a big deal. That name carries around a lot of stuff with it. It's not like having any other running back, which means your game plan might have to be altered. Now, we know the Ravens probably want to run the ball more. They didn't run the ball that much in that playoff game. But also, to be fair to the Ravens offensive staff, they were out almost every running back that they had signed. Right? They lost Keaton Mitchell, had more injuries pop up. They were back down to Gus Edwards, who they've been trying to get rid of for years. Not that Gus Edwards is a bad running back. It's just for whatever reason they don't prefer him. But you bring in Derrick Henry. And I have a couple serious questions about if Derrick Henry works in this context. I know a lot of people think it's automatically a perfect fit because the Ravens have a better offensive line than the Tennessee Titans did last year, and that the Ravens are known for running the ball. But it's not that simple. It's not about if you run the ball, it's how you run the ball, especially with the dude like Derrick Henry, who's proven to be effective running the ball in one way, right? Derrick Henry struggled early in his career when he wasn't being utilized correctly. It wasn't until people figured out that, yeah, he's 6'3". Yeah, he's giant. But where he really excels is on wide zone and getting out and downhill and getting on an angle. Where he doesn't excel is running up the middle, is doing the big running back stuff. So this brings up a bunch of different questions when you talk about his fit with Baltimore. One, Baltimore loves pistol. Baltimore loves shotgun. Baltimore loves running the ball up the middle. Where does Derrick Henry really fit in that? So are you going to have to change some of that? Also, another thing with Derrick Henry's run style is that he likes to run the ball out of single. Now, similar like how people had these concerns about Nick Chubb, I'm sure Derrick Henry will find a way to adjust, but this is where I do separate Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, you've seen him do that before. When I saw Derrick Henry do that when he was at his youngest in the NFL, he did not do that well, right? So that's another thing. And Derrick Henry has always been at his best when the offense is built around Derrick Henry. That's when you've seen, like, every year that we talked about Derrick Henry being Derrick Henry was a year where they built the thing around Derrick Henry. That's not going to be the case anymore. Lamar is the offense. Derrick Henry is an accent to the offense. Every other time that we've seen Derrick Henry dominate, it's been Derrick Henry's the offense. Ryan Tannehill, he's an accent to the offense. So the question is, now that Derrick Henry's role is going to be more of a supporting role at age 30, is that something he's going to be able to do with a lot of success? I don't know. A lot of people are talking about this as if it's going to be a home run, slam dunk, easy day one. He's going to rush for like 1,200 yards. I don't know. Like, it's certainly possible that Derrick Henry plays well. I mean, he's Derrick Henry, but he's also 30, right? And he's going to be playing in the most physical division he's ever played in his life. So he's going to be the oldest he's ever played football at. Coming off a year where it looked like age started to get him a little bit. It didn't get him completely, but it did look like it started to get him a little bit. And oh, by the way, you're throwing this dude at 30 to the AFC North, a division that has Myles Garrett in the Browns defensive line, that has Trey Hendrickson in the Bengals defensive line, that has TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith in the Steelers. And you have to play those teams 2 times. It's 6 games. He's coming from a division, let's be honest about it, always kind of sucked. The Colts, they've been decent, but never really that good. The Jaguars, they're the Jaguars. The Titans have really ran that division for the most part up until the last couple of years. It's not a great division. It really isn't. And now you're coming to, the Houston Texans, who stunk until the last year. Now you're coming in to the AFC North. Remember all the adjustments that we're still seeing Deshaun Watson make from making that leap from the AFC South to the AFC North? There's going to be adjustments for Derrick Henry. Playing in the AFC North at running back, different beast. It's a different beast. The games are more physical. Tackles are more physical. Everything is just more physical. Then you think about Derrick Henry's play style. He is a downhill runner. Again, people look at Derrick Henry and they think, oh, he's like Jerome Bettis. He's just a big dude that just runs people over. It's not really the case. Derrick Henry is 6'3", 250 pounds. But in order for that 6'3" and 250 pounds to really be effective, he's got to be going downhill. Right? If he's going downhill, yeah, it's effective. But if you stop him before he gets downhill, he's not. And I'm not just saying this. Ironically enough, I was listening to a podcast that I believe had Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey on it, 2 of his now teammates. And they were talking about running backs who were difficult to tackle. And Derrick Henry is a bit of an afterthought on that list compared to guys like Nick Chubb.
Our first fan question comes from Henry, Who's the hardest player in the league to tackle?
That's a good question.
That is a really good question. The hardest guy in the league to tackle. Honestly, I'll probably go Chubb, but like I kind of know how to get him too though, because like going up against him all the time in college and whatnot, I would probably say him. But I would say years ago when I first came in the league, it was definitely what's that guy? Chris Carson, before he had that neck injury. Man, it was my first start back in 2018. Seattle came to Chicago. And man, it was kind of like welcome to the league. Like I thought I can just go hit him down on the legs or something. Man, I kept running. It happened to me about 2-3 times that game. So I would say definitely him, but probably Chubb and whatnot. And Henry, if you don't get him before he gets going, like if he gets going, then obviously he can be a lot to handle. But if you can get him behind the line, like stop his feet, then he's not that tough. But like when he get a little head of steam, I would probably say him as well.
When you get him behind the line of scrimmage and you get him to stop his feet, he's not that tough, is the quote from his now teammate, Roquan Smith. Now, again, he didn't say Derrick Henry was a bum in that close. And that's not what I'll try to make you think, that he thinks that Derrick Henry is a bum. But there's clearly an easier way to get to Derrick Henry versus other guys who are difficult to tackle. It was like Derrick Henry's like third guy on this list. And that's the point. If Derrick Henry is getting older, that means he's going to get slower. And he needs to get downhill. If he gets downhill slower, then the ease of tackling him goes up dramatically. Now, if the Ravens don't use him like that, then the ease of tackling him goes up dramatically. He needs to be used in a specific way for a specific reason. He's giant. He's not necessarily the quickest to full speed, but he does have an impressive full speed at 6'3", 250 pounds. But as he ages, it's going to take him longer and longer to accelerate to that full speed. And that opens up the window for teams to tackle him very easily before he gets going. And then you have other questions, right? Like, what if Derrick Henry commands so many carries that it starts to hurt the offense because now you're not using Lamar as much? Or now, somebody like Keaton Mitchell, who unfortunately had an ACL injury at the end of the year, who knows when he'll be back. But if he gets back and he's playing well, he comes back, he can't get that many touches again, despite looking really good. This is a serious question. I don't know if this Derrick Henry thing is the slam dunk that people think it is. Maybe I'm just hating, right? And I know there's going to be a Raven fan or two in there. Maybe a Steeler fan jumps in and takes the honor of Derrick Henry in this one and tells me that I'm just being a homer and I'm being a hater and a Browns fan, and then they'll somehow make this about Deshaun Watson's contract. Like, it's usually how this thing goes, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm on to something. When he played the Cleveland Browns, he had 11 rushing attempts for 20 yards. That's something, right? That's something. Now, he did well against Baltimore. He did well against Cincinnati. And I'm going to assume that he did decently against Pittsburgh. He had 17 carries, 75 yards. That's one time a year. When you're a non-division opponent, you're not really the focal point of how teams try to prepare in the offseason. Now you are. You're on the Baltimore Ravens. You're not just the focal point. You're the target that everybody in the division is shooting for. So now they're really going to be thinking about ways to stop Derrick Henry. And I think that Derrick Henry to the Ravens, it's going to make a lot of noise in March. But I don't know if we're going to be talking about it as loud in October as we are right now. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.